Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Well, we've been showcasing this great Divi plugin here today, the Divi image hover effects. And they've got, I think it's 250 hover effects included, and there's some fantastic effects here. You can do some wonderful things with them. And at the moment they've got a deal on, it's $15 instead of $50, which is a great saving, and it is a fantastic plugin. I own it and I've used it a lot. And another thing they do is image swap like this. But Divi's come such a long way. A lot of these things now, if you're prepared to do a little bit of work, you can do manually. So we've done a few here, and the one I'm going to do today is an image to text with border when you hover over it. And this will work equally as well with an image with a gradient or colored background. It'll work with a video background too, as will most of these hover effects that we're creating here, and they're pretty easy to do. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. I'm going to go down to where I want to work. Let's create another section here. And I'll put in a row with 3 columns. And it's going to ask me to put in a module. Divi obviously comes as standard with all these modules, plenty enough to build just about any type of website. Gives you another dozen too if you install WooCommerce. The only one it doesn't have is this Divi image hover, and that's the plugin I just showed you just now. Okay, so what do I want? I want a text module right here. And there it is. I'm going to leave it just exactly like it is, text wise, because I really don't have anything to say. So let's go over, and I want to do a little bit of decoration to it. First thing I'm going to do is go and put a border around it. So I'm going to go to design, I'll put a border around it, down to border, all sides at once. You can do top, right, bottom, or left individually if you want to. I'm just going to give it a border of, say, 2 will probably do, 3 maybe too much, don't know, I can always change that later. I'll leave it at black as the time being. We're going to change this in a little while, but now I want to put a bit of space between the border and the actual module itself, or the writing within the module I should say. So let's go down to spacing, or up to spacing obviously, and we'll put in 25 pixels all round. Just put in the 25, it'll put the pics, hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side view. There we go, that's great. The only other thing is, I'll make that text, I'm going to put that text in the center. So right at the top at the text, just going to go down to alignment and put it in the center. There we go, great. Now what I want to do is have an image behind it, because this is not going to be visible until we hover over it. So we're going to be looking at a nice picture, and then when we hover over it, this is going to appear. Okay, so let's get that done. So let's save what we've got here with our module, and we're going to go into the row, and we're going to have to put an image in the column that's behind this text module. We've got a row with 3 columns, 1 left, 2 middle, 3 right. I'm on the left one, going to go in there, and to do this I'm going to put a background. Like I say, this will work with a color, a gradient, an image which we're going to use today, or an MP4 video. So let's add our image. I guess we'll use the same one as I had before. In fact, let's use a different one. Let's use that one. Okay, well you can kind of see what's going on there. You can see the writing, and there's the border. But obviously I want the writing to be a lot more visible than that, so I'm going to make it white. I'm going to make the border white, but I don't want the border to be on the outside of the image. I want it to be inside a little bit. So we can do that with a bit of margin. So let's save our row right here. Go back into the module itself. Let's go into our design, hit the text. I'm just going to change this from dark to light, or you can give it a color if you want to. There we go, you can read that a bit better, that's great. Now for our border, I want to do the same thing. I'm going to make that white. Of course you won't see much because it'll be white on white. So let's go ahead and make it white. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some margin on the outside of our text module here, which will squeeze it down inside the image. So our border is almost going to be where that blue border is when I hover over it. And to do that, we'll just use a bit of margin. So we'll go back up to our spacing. Here's our margin. Let's try putting 15 pixels all around. There you go, you see what I mean? And there's the effect that I want right there. Okay, now that's okay, but that text is getting a little bit lost in some of that image. So what I can do is, while we're in the module, I can put a dark background in there that'll bring out that text a bit, but we'll still be able to see the image. So I'm going to use black. I've gone into the content, down to the background. I'm going to use a color. I'm going to use black. Now of course we want to see some of the image through there, so let's go in there, drag the opacity or see-throughness, this slider right over here, down until we're happy with it. We want to be able to read all the text, but we do want to be able to see pretty much the image too. There we go, that's fine. Just to check, you can slide this down all the way and see the difference. That's without it. There's with it, and I think that's a lot more legible that way and doesn't intrude on the image too much. Okay, now we've got to make the hover thing happen. So what we want to just see the image when we're not hovering over it, and when we put our mouse over it, we want our text and border to fade in. So let's get that done. We can do that very easily. Let's go to Design and down to Filters. And if you watch any other my Divi hover videos, I'm sure you're one step ahead of me. So we're going to go down to Opacity, and common to all Divi modules, if you hover over the dark legending right there, icons will appear. And if you've got an arrow, it'll give you an option to set two different states: for desktop when your mouse is not hovering, and for hover when your mouse is on it, obviously. So for desktop, we don't want to see it at all. So the opacity or see-throughness, I'm going to take all the way down to 0. Gone. Now when our mouse is hovering over it, I want to fully see it. Like that. Perfect. Now the default time that Divi gives it to do that hover is 300 milliseconds. For me that's a little too quick. Obviously you do whatever suits you. But to change it, I'm going to go to the Advanced tab in the module, down to Transitions, and there it is right there, Transition Duration. I'm going to slide mine up to just over a second, or around a second, somewhere like that. I don't want any delay. I want it to happen the moment they put their mouse on it. And the speed curve that I like to use for this effect is ease in, ease out. Play with these. They're slightly different. They're not obviously different, but they work different in different situations. And this is one of my favorites for a lot of situations. Okay, so if we've done everything correctly, this should now work. Let's save, exit the Visual Builder, save the draft or publish, and exit the Visual Builder. Just go down to where we were. There's our little image, and when we hover over it, it should take 1.2 seconds to fade in with our text and border. And there you have it. Really easy to do, and that's a nice little thing to have on your site. People are sort of mousing down your site, they roll over it, that's going to draw their attention pretty quickly. And as I say, this will work just as well with a colored or a gradient image background or an MP4 video background. So there you go, there's how to do text to image on hover with a border. I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.